And a Take Two edition of the Doing All Right podcast here on this beloved Monday here. Man, Bryan, we at the end. We're at the end. We have done our work. We have watched our 200 and some odd players. We've stacked them. That's a bit of a challenge.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? At some point, we're going to tap in with our team at Crown Globe Media, all our draft siblings or whatever, and my draft siblings, your draft churn. And, we're going to compare top 100s later on in the week. Y'all stay tuned for that. You hit me up a month ago and said, Voch, Coach Campo want to watch some film.
He does.
I say, bet. I thought that this was an incredibly strange group of safeties.
Yes.
I figured it'd be good to get some expertise on that.
Right.
That'll happen later in the week, just in case anybody's curious about the schedule this week, right? We got draft going on, all this kind of stuff. We're going to work 19 hours on Thursday. We're going to come in here in the morning. We're going to do the draft show on, .com radio and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to come back in here Friday and recap what just happened and kind of give you guys previews and all this kind of stuff. So we're going to be working all week. It is going to be one-on-ones. Bryan, how you feeling, man?
I'm doing well, man. Happy draft week to you. It's nice to put the tape to bed unless something scrambles out that, oh, heck, we need to watch a guy or two and get that all squared away. It has been a little bit of a challenge. I've stacked, much like you, stacked my 100, now stacking the second 100, got up to 220 players total is what I got to. So just kind of putting the finishing touches on that. Going to get that posted here on Crown Global Media, get it posted on 105.3 The Fan as well. But excited to get through this with the news with the Giants over the weekend. Now it kind of puts a little bit different light on what's going to happen to you potentially ahead of you.
Bryan,
so we'll see that.
Let me ask you a question. You did that podcast with them Giant folks
last night.
Well, I'm gonna pull back the curtain a little bit. You did the show like a week ago or some shit,
I
right?
did the show. It was a week ago Monday, and they were going to post it the following Monday.
For whatever reason, they held on to the content. They had a plan in mind, schedule in mind.
Yeah.
Then the Dexter Lawrence thing happened.
Right.
The trade to the Bengals for the 10th overall pick. Dexter, and he passed his physical.
Yeah.
He passed the damn physical. Bryan, when you did that pod weeks ago, or however long ago it was.
Week ago, yeah.
What was the pick for the Giants, and what was the overall sentiments? Because I know that you did put a cowboy twist on it at some point, because you're a cowboy guy, right? Kind of give me where you were then, and then after that, I'm going to ask you kind of where we are.
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, we were going through it, and the thought was what's going to happen at 5.
Yeah.
And so talking to the Giants, they were trying to walk me through like, okay, tell me who we could pick at 5, tell me who we could pick at 37, and tell me who we could pick in the 4th round, because they don't have a 3rd round pick. So we were navigating that. And we went through several different scenarios. We went through a scenario with Sonny Styles being picked. We went through a scenario with Mawanoa being picked, the offensive tackle from Miami. We went through a scenario where Downs was picked at 5. And so as we were kind of navigating those, it seemed like, too, that the Giants were also talking about they were looking for potentially a linebacker. That was another thing. So at 37, C.J. Allen was a guy. We got down into the 4th round. Then we started to talk about defensive tackles. And that's when Proctor came on board for the thought that we were talking about from southeastern Louisiana. And they were like, whoa, okay.
Caleb Proctor.
Not
Caden Proctor.
Not Caden Proctor, but Caleb Proctor from southeastern Louisiana. So we were kind of walking through all that. Well, then they said, okay, they asked me, could you please come back? And now that we've made this trade. And so I go back, we start to tape again. We're talking about it. It's made it a little different for them, and now it's different from the Cowboys because I think taking Cincinnati out of this now, Cincinnati was clearly going defense. The Giants now are thinking more about both offense and defense. So that might help the Cowboys. They took their general manager, Joe Shane, and they took him out. He went out and did the workout at Arizona State with Tyson. So just to kind of get, and I was talking with the Giants, I'm like, well, is this something that we should read into the week of prepping the board, that we're getting our general manager running out for a workout? And the Giants guys were like saying, well, this guy is like a no stone unturned type of guy. Yeah. I don't think this is going to be his draft. I think this is clearly going to be Harbaugh's draft. Mm-hmm. Harbaugh is going to pick the players for the New York Giants in this particular. Now we get down into maybe some picks. He'll reach and say, hey, what do you think, scouts, and that and the other. But I think this is clearly going to be a John Harbaugh-led draft. Joe Schoen, I think, is going to be there in support. But it opens up the possibility of a offensive player now going at 10, where before you didn't think that's the case. But now there's the opportunity of you losing. You could potentially lose Delane. You potentially can lose Downs, where maybe that Cincinnati would have taken one of those guys. Maybe they would have taken the corner. Maybe they would have taken the safety. But I think that at least it opens you up to other possibilities of getting a defensive player to you.
First of all, shame on you, Giants podcast people. They'd have to send me some money to come in and do another last-minute pod because y'all wanted to hold on to the last episode for damn 2-3 weeks, and then this Dexter Lawrence stuff happened. I hope they put some money in your
These
pocket.
Are the relationships you build with people through the years. John Smelk there at the Giants is a great friend, and he's always been super honest about, when it comes to what are the Giants going to do. He's one of those guys that lives in the building. Mm-hmm. So when you want to know what's, hey John, what are you guys thinking here? John can usually give you a pretty good opinion on what's going to happen. But there's times when you like, they're starting to pile up, and I know they're starting to pile up for you when people are now asking you, hey, can I have you on Wednesday? Can I have you on? Can I have you on? Can I have you on?
I just say no.
and now you're sitting there going, okay, how many of these am I going to do this week?
Yeah.
So, but that's the beauty of getting to work on this draft.
That's actually a lot. Foots and Will still can call me right now. We'll jump on their show.
Well, it's funny. Foots asked me to come on Wednesday, and I was trying to think of all the things I got going on Wednesday.
Yeah, man. Foots will ask you last minute in the middle of draft week to come do something. He gonna call me too, but it's all good. Bryan, when you talked to the Giants folks last week, wide receiver wasn't at the top of their list though.
No, it really wasn't. It was.
So you think because just watching social media and all this stuff, I feel like this Giants interest in Jordan Tyson is real last minute.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, this ain't a guy that they've been talking about for a while. I actually tweeted in just like I was just making a joke about it. I was like, man, they about to draft Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs.
Yeah, that's still a possibility.
And it would and it would
still a possibility for them.
And it would piss Cowboy fans clean the hell off. But if you're a team that that needs linebacker and needs safety, I don't see why they wouldn't. Plus, we've kind of heard those names linked to the Giants at 5. So in my mind, why not take them at 5 and 10 if you love Jeremiah Love, you love Downs, you love Styles?
I would absolutely, and I told this to the Giants folks. I know it's we're kind of a one-stop shop here. We talk about the draft. That's what we're doing. We're talking about the draft because it's going to affect what happens to the Cowboys, folks. Trust me. This is all kind of interweaved. I was trying to talk them into. I would take Noah and I would take Downs.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. Or I would take Love. Mm-hmm. And I would take Downs.
Would you take Noah or would you take the best tackle available? Like Fano's not on that list for you. You just have
I told them who I would take. And when I gave them my stack, and I told them how high I had Noah, Downs, Noah, Love, that kind. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That I was trying to tell them, like if I was sitting in Dallas's war room, and they picked off my first best player and my third best player, that would hurt me. That would absolutely hurt me. Yeah. The Giants, I'm going to be honest, I believe the Giants are going to take 2 of my guys for sure. Yeah. Just a matter of which, I've only got 13 guys. Sure. And they're going to take 2 of them. And the 2 of them I've probably eliminated because health of a cornerback from Tennessee, McCoy, and maybe the limitations of arm length of another guy. Sure. So now I'm down. I've lost potentially 4 of my 13 guys. So that makes things a little bit more challenging for Dallas to have to do this.
Do you think that the Giants getting 10 overall, do you think that it'll like create urgency from another team? You know what I'm saying? To try to move up and do something different now?
And I told you, I worry about the friggin' Dolphins.
Because it may be good for the Cowboys because you felt like the Bengals were going to take a defender.
Yeah, that's exactly.
We didn't know what defender.
We didn't know. It could have been any one of the guys. I mean,
let me ask you this, Bryan. They sent 10 over there for Dexter Lawrence. Yeah. Do you think that if the Bengals were there that they would have taken Peter Woods? Not the same player.
Yeah. Man, it's an interesting. Maybe they didn't like any of these guys. Maybe they didn't like McDonald and Hunt or Hunter and guys like that. Maybe they are Christian Miller. Maybe they didn't like any of those guys.
I don't think we're talking.
But I don't know if they would take him at 10.
I don't think we're talking about the Bengals side of it enough.
Yeah.
Why Dexter Lawrence?
Yeah.
If they had 10 overall to give away, why not some other veteran player?
See, this is why I would love to ask Duke Tobin this question and I think it's an interesting one. Maybe some way I'll try and back channel this thing. Sure. But I would be interested. Did Cincinnati, were they going to take defensive linemen no matter what?
And maybe they're going by your mindset. Like, hey, we could take Peter Woods here, but Dexter Lawrence is better than Peter Woods right now.
Right.
And there's no other tackle that in this class that we'll say is better than Dexter Lawrence. So that made them take Dexter Lawrence.
Right. I'd love to back channel this thing and figure that out because they clearly had something in mind there. I really thought they were going to take somebody in the secondary. Mm-hmm. I thought it was either going to be Delane with their love for LSU players. Yeah. I thought they were going to take Delane. I thought they could very well have tried to take Downs. Again, they have a history. Their family has a history with Ohio State. Yeah. So those were the two options that I was kind of looking at.
You know, it's odd, Bryan.
Dallas is going to sit there, right?
I'm sitting here trying to process all of it, and the more I think about it, the more questions I have. Right? Like I'm real big on the why. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because if you need a D tackle, everybody talking about trading around or moving or trading out or whatever. Like, would the Bengals have been a candidate for the Cowboys to move up at 10? We never talked about the Bengals as a candidate for that. And look,
I have a history with the Bengals.
Please.
I have a history. And my history goes, now my history is now 20 years old. Things change. But I do know with the Bengals, traditionally, they're a team that you call them and you tell them, hey, we're just checking phones. We're open for business. You talk to Duke Tobin over there. You talk to those guys at the Bengals, and they're like, okay, hey, thanks, Bryan, appreciate it. Good luck on the draft. That's all, and that's the last time you talk to the Bengals. Yeah. I never ever expected Cincinnati to be a team you could trade with. People go with Cincinnati is kind of in their own little world when it comes to drafting. They're very coach-driven. They're a small scouting staff. They're family-run. They're not the team that you're really always looking to wheel and deal with. Mm-hmm. They're just not. That's just not their MO. Sure. So Cincinnati at 10, could that have been something? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. Just because of history. And listen, I'm sure there's somebody in the comments right now that's typing, "Oh, Broaddus, Duke Tobin traded da 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 da." I just know my personal history of calling Cincinnati when Duke Tobin and his father, Bill Tobin, and all of them are there with the Brown family. Yeah. It was very much to call and say, hey, we got your number. If you need anything, call us. And they never called. Cincinnati was not a calling team. Or you wouldn't call them because you knew they were going to stand in there and generally make a pick.
Just in case there's like Bengals people watching, right? Like we've been watching Dexter Lawrence for a long time.
You got a great one.
We've been keeping up with him. It's interesting. You look at the narrative on the internet right now.
Yeah,
they're calling Dexter Lawrence like an older player.
Yeah,
he's like 28.
Yeah,
Dexter Lawrence ain't old for real.
Yeah, no, he's going to be a problem. And I was when I was on the Giants podcast last night, I was talking with them, and I said, listen, if you listen real closely, the cheering you hear from up in Frisco is that offensive line meeting room where they don't have to deal with Dexter Lawrence anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
That when you watch the Giants play, that is the one defensive piece that you really have to watch and he's like I say, if you're a Bengals fan, congratulations. I feel like you guys made a really good trade.
That's a win now move. Listen, so we always say there's no player in this top 10 that's better than Dexter Lawrence, but would you have made that trade? Like if you were a team and you were maybe like a win now type type team.
That's a win now move. I mean, it's hard to think about players you have, like just say your top 10 players. Yeah. Are there 10 players on your board better than? I remember we in Philadelphia in '98. I don't go back in time, but this is my experience. Mike Lombardi came into our room and he said, "Hey, listen, I have a chance to trade for Hugh Douglas, second round pick." And I said, "Michael, there's nobody on my board in the second round that's better than Hugh Douglas. Nobody. If you want to go ahead and use that pick, let's go trade for Hugh Douglas here." And so that's how you kind of have to look at some of these trades. You have to look at them as the one thing that the Green Bay Packers will do. Green Bay Packers will look at their board when they get to 20 and they'll say, who would we have taken? Who would we have taken here? And then they'll say, that player's not better than Michael Parsons.
Sure.
They'll say that. They'll just go, it's that. Maybe there'll be somebody like, I can't believe that guy got through. But they will look at their board and say that there's not a player better than. Now, they had to make the trade, Cincinnati. They had to make the trade, and they had to pay the player.
Sure.
They're comfortable doing that, though, but they've got him a really, really good player.
I'm going to talk about some Cowboy implications in a little bit, Bryan.
Yeah.
But right now, I want you to tell us about our good friends at World Springs.
How about that, man? World Springs. I know last week I talked to you about World Springs and all the great things that they can do for you. Big workout guy, Voch. World Springs is one of the best when it comes to when you're one of those guys or gals that have just finished your workout and you need to recover the right way. Our friends over there at World Springs, they do a great job. Head over there to worldsprings.com. Use the code CGM for 30% off your soak reservation. And that's that. When I'm talking soak, got the cold dips, got the hot dips, got the saunas, got just the pools, got everything. They got a spa over there. It's the perfect spot to relax your muscles, reset your body, and get ready for your next session. And we'll also be giving to one fan a post-draft recovery VIP getaway soon. So make sure you stay tuned to that. That's our good friends over there at World Springs. Trust me. Been over there, seen the operation, first class all the way. Great people over there. They will completely take care of all your needs.
I'm trying to go.
We're going after the draft. I mean, you could have your own area and stuff like that. There's
don't come with me.
No old man kind of old man you worry, but no, the World Springs. Those folks do a tremendous job, and I mean it's when you go in there, you're just like, okay, I get it now. Top notch, first class facilities. Seriously, guys. Go over there. Check this out. Go to the website. I trust me, you will not be disappointed. Your guy Bryan Broaddus here is sending you the right direction here.
Also, too, another angle to it, Bryan. Send your wife. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're not an athlete, you know what I mean? Send your wife, send your girlfriend. Mother's Day coming up.
Go together. And let me give you a pro tip.
Sure.
Pro tip real quick.
Please.
Book during the week. Book during the week.
Yeah.
Kind of go in there, book during the week. On the weekend, they get busy. And it's good.
You get the whole place to
you. Get the whole place, you get the whole place. There's people around, but book during the week. Yeah. Trust me, that's a pro tip. Scout tip from me right there.
Bryan, thank you, World Springs.
Yeah.
Bryan, we kind of had the idea, when we'll be doing these mocks, we watch other people do mocks, we'll hear things, that the Bengals were going to take a DB from you.
Yeah.
And defensive back is up there for us, whether it be Mansour, whether it be Downs. You had a feeling that the Bengals would take one of those from you.
That's where I was going.
Assuming that the Giants do you a favor.
Mm-hmm.
And they ain't got to do you no favors.
Nope.
Like I say, the Giants could go get Jordan Tyler, but if you really want to put a foot on the Cowboys, the Giants should just take Styles and Downs and just
call it a day.
And just hurt all their feelings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the Bengals aren't at 10 anymore. You always talk about landmines.
Yeah.
Would you say that the Bengals were the biggest blinking light that was in front of us, whether it be 9, 10, even at 11. Because if you look at Kansas City, you can also argue that like they may need wide receiver help. You know,
Right.
you look at the Dolphins, like everything's bad with them. They can take anybody away,
Yeah.
right? It almost seemed like, which is almost I need to talk to some Bengals people. It seems like if there was a team that was gonna take Delane or Downs from you, it would be the Bengals. And they trade that pick away from for the tackle. I got questions, but with the Bengals being out of there now, do you personally feel better that like Delane or Downs could fall to you, and why?
Possibility, yeah, possibility. I talked to 5 general managers last week.
5.
Four of them were saying there was a possibility that Downs gets to you. One of them said absolutely not. So I'm 5 guys in the league I trust. I'm sure a lot of these guys are buddies with each other, and you just kind of ask like, hey, I know you're not in that range of potentially getting Downs, but do you think he's going to be there? And I had guys like tell me no, they didn't think he was. One guy said no, absolutely not. The others were saying, hey, possibility. And I think that goes back to this whole positional value thing, that we kind of been talking about for weeks now. But the thing that there's just these couple of things I worry about. I do worry about the Giants now, in a way that I worry about them picking off a defensive player, but they could also take that offensive guy. That's good. I do worry about the Dolphins. I worry about that maybe what if Downs does get to the Dolphins? And then all of a sudden it turns into teams ahead, knowing that Dallas potentially could take this guy. I think Dallas has got to be ready to pivot, much like they were ready with Ryan Shazier. When Ryan Shazier went off the board and they took Zach Martin. The more and this week we'll figure out more, but just talking to folks over the weekend, it just seems like that Dallas is going to sit there and pick. They're going to sit there and see what the board does. And this is as we talk on a Monday. It just seems like that they worked hard to get the 20th pick, and the 12th pick they got that pick by not being good enough. It doesn't seem like that they want to get rid of those picks. So they're comfortable, that somebody is going to slide to them. I just hope that their intel has told them that it's going to be the right player is going to slide to them. So we'll see. You and I have talked a lot about Styles and where Styles could fall in this whole thing. I just keep reminding folks, Styles has only been playing linebacker 2 years. Only been playing linebacker 2 years. Teams see the same thing that Voch and I are seeing right now. They see some of the struggles with getting off blocks, gotten better at it a little bit. We've seen some of the misdirection stuff, been fooled a couple of times. We've seen that. Just remember, folks, that this guy has only played the position 2 years. There might be a little bit of a learning curve there. And that's what teams are also kind of talking about right now. So if somehow Styles were to get to you and all that, just talking to teams, I wouldn't be surprised. But there's a possibility that teams could say, no, the upside, the ceiling, everything like that is too good, can't pass this guy up right now. But teams are saying the same thing that Voch and I are right now, is that 2 years of playing the position. Just keep an eye on that.
You said Cowboys have intel that they feel like one of their big 6 guys will be there at 12.
Yeah.
If you had to assume, you would say Bain and who? Because I think Bain could be there for you.
I think Bain could be there too, and I think that they would be comfortable taking Bain if it turned into we lost everybody else.
You lost 5 of your big 6.
Yeah.
If you had to put it in order, get your pen if you need to. If you had, and I'm gonna try to write this down too.
All right.
If you had to put your big 6 in order for the Cowboys, right?
All right. Hang on just a second here.
I got
the yellow pad working.
I got Bain at 6. I feel like he could be the last guy. Who, if you think the Cowboys,
Are you talking defensive players? In what order they would take them?
the Cowboys big 6, on defense. First of all, okay, would you say that they would take Reese or Bailey first? What would you assume?
I would think that they would probably take Bailey first.
You would assume that they would take Bailey first. Now, does that automatically put Reese at 2?
Yeah.
Or do you think that they'll like take Downs over Reese or something?
I think it would be. I think Bailey would be in the mix there. I think you can do Downs next
At 2?
at 2.
Okay.
I think then you would probably do Reese.
You think they like Downs over Reese?
Yeah, I do.
Styles or Delane?
I think they would probably take Styles there.
You think they would take Styles as their third guy?
Right. Actually, they'd be their fourth. Bailey, Downs, Reese, Styles would be the fourth.
Downs, Reese, yeah.
Then you start to talk about Delane would be in this mix.
Delane and Bain.
Bain, yeah. I think Bain's the last one.
Bailey for the pass rush. Downs, outside linebacker pass rush
Yeah.
as well. I mean, safety. Then
Yeah.
Reese, who's the outside linebacker pass
Yeah.
rush. Then Styles, Delane, Bain.
Yeah.
Hey man, we'll see what happens, Bryan. Why do you think that? Why do you think they don't want to move on from 2, from 20? Why would you? Because I've heard that from some of the bigger national guys as well. Like Phil Yates came out and said it. I believe I heard Jordan Reed said that the Cowboys, if they could move around, but they don't want to move on from 20. They don't want to move up in the draft and get rid of 20.
I think they got somebody in mind.
Do you think they have a player in mind?
I think they have a player in mind.
Now, let me ask you this. Before
Me
I ask you that.
personally?
Hold on. Wait, hold on before I ask you that. I tweeted yesterday after the Giants traded away Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
I actually tweeted, Zay, you ain't got to bring this up. I actually tweeted, this would be a good time to send 20 to Vegas.
I saw that.
Okay.
And I liked it.
I like that shit too, Bryan. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's a possibility since we're in the mood for trading players? Either sending 20 to Vegas or 92 to Miami for the linebacker. Do you think any of that is in play right now?
I think they want to make those picks.
Okay.
But I'm going to say this, man. I really like what you did.
Mm-hmm.
I really like what you did at 20.
Just send 20 right now to Vegas.
I do.
Close to draft, the value of the picks go up the closer you get to draft.
You just saw a defensive tackle go for a 10. Can you get this? Can you try and get this guy for 20? I mean, I would make that call.
Yeah.
I would absolutely make that call because, okay, what if you turn around? Think about this draft.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this draft. What if somehow Downs got to you at 10 or at 12?
Mm-hmm.
You take him. Now you just take 20. When we're kind of in the air of, I think Dallas has somebody in mind, but we're kind of talking about all possibilities. Can imagine coming away with this draft with Downs and Crosby.
Phenomenal.
Can imagine that.
Phenomenal. You
can imagine that.
Your defense is totally different at that point.
Completely different.
Totally different. You just missing a linebacker. And look, I'll take a rookie at linebacker if you got Downs and Crosby pass rush for you.
I was kind of thinking that maybe you make the pick at 12 and you move 20 back. You try to. Seeing who's going to come for what. You, maybe the quarterback. Maybe somebody likes one of these quarterbacks better than you and I do. Mm-hmm. But then if you went back to, say, 20, I'm not talking about fall completely out of the first round, but maybe fall back into the 27, 28 and grab one of these linebackers.
Sure.
That's when you start to think about with the Hill and the Allen and then maybe Rodriguez.
Sure.
I think that we're a lot higher. I think media scouts are higher on.
When you say we, you mean them.
Well,
them people that got him at 20.
Yeah,
or
that's what I'm saying. I think that they're really. I think that we're pumping air into Rodriguez.
I think he'll be drafted late second or early third, and I think he'll be a good player.
Yeah, I don't disagree. There's people you talk to out in Lubbock will say the same thing.
Yeah.
They're saying, well, what about first round? I don't think so. Not in the first round. They think more of a second round guy.
Yeah.
And people I've talked to out at Lubbock. Because I was trying to figure out what teams are talking to these people, these coaches and stuff out in Lubbock that would say, okay, well, he's going to get picked. Oh yeah, he's a first round guy. Come on, what are you talking about, Bryan?
Yeah.
No, I think there a couple of different people I talked to out in Lubbock were like, I kind of feel like he's a second round guy. Mm-hmm. So, but they love the player. Don't get me wrong, but I think that people might think he's going a little higher than maybe where he's actually going to go. I think there's several guys like that in this draft.
Sure. You said, I kind of been teasing this for the end here. You said that you feel like the Cowboys have somebody in mind.
I do.
At 20.
I do.
If you had to guess, who is that?
I think they got one of these corners in mind.
Mm.
I think they do. I think that they want to. I think they're hopeful. I think they're hopeful that maybe a guy like Hood's there. I think they're hopeful. I think actually Cissé's in play here.
Okay.
Chris Johnson very well could be in play as well. I think they've got one of these corners that could these corners stack better than these linebackers.
Do you think it matters who they take at 12, or do you think that they're probably looking at corner no matter what at 20?
I think the corner, the linebacker, I think the corner and the linebacker aspect is probably.
I guess what I'm
20.
asking.
I think it's. Let me see if I can do this right.
If
it's edge, it's a safety edge at 12.
Okay.
And then linebacker corner at 20.
So what I was going to ask you is if they don't take an edge at 12,
right?
Say Messidor is there at 20.
I don't think they would take Messidor.
You don't think they'll take Messidor?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Because of the age?
I think so.
You don't think they'll take him at 20?
Nope. I don't think so. I don't think so. I fought a fight. I fought the battle.
Yeah.
I fought the battle.
We'll be right. We'll be right.
I'm not. Listen. It's to me. It's. I think there's teams around the league that have legitimate concern about the age. Mm. I'm looking at the player. I'm looking at the player as, you know what? Maybe there's not going to be the learning curve that there was with Donovan Ezeraku. Maybe he's going to come in older, more mature, body mature, ready to play, ready for the grind of the NFL. You know, I'm asking this guy to be really good probably for 5 years.
Sure.
You know, that's what I want. And then maybe if he develops and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, we're going to sign him to a second contract. He's 31 years old. You know, cool. Like that's fine. We'll sign him to a second deal if he's proven that out. I just don't think that they would take Messidor, though. And as much as I would love them to take Messidor,
sure,
I don't think they would.
Fascinating stuff, Mr. Broaddus.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, man, we're gonna be working. We're gonna be working all week, man. We appreciate y'all for hanging around with us, tapping in with our work there. But hey, man, we've had a long journey since when we started. January, or we started in. Yeah,
we've started kind of talking. I know that we started looking at players in November.
November for real, yeah. So hey, long journey is gonna finish up this weekend. 93% of these guys, we're not even gonna care about it no more because
I'll tell you one thing. With you and I doing work over at DallasCowboys.com and 105.3 The Fan.
Yeah.
If some of these son of a guns get drafted by some other teams, I'm going to talk about them.
Yeah, for sure.
I am not
well equipped.
Yeah, and then you could come on these programs because we're going to talk about these guys too. Had good draft, bad draft, whatever. But I'll tell you what, I ain't going to put in the work and let Kyle Yeomans pass by. Well, these are the last 10 picks. If I've studied 8 of those 10 picks,
hey, let me talk about him real quick.
Damn right I am.
Yeah.
Damn right I'm going to talk about these guys.
That is real, Mr. Broaddus. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hey man, content pending. I don't want to put it all out there. I know stuff is happening. We'll let y'all just pop up and click the video and see what we're doing that day. I gave you a rough preview early in the show, but we'll hold everything down.
We're hearing more things along the day.
Yeah,
as the days go by, we'll start to hear more and more things, and we'll report them.
Yeah, we'll know. We'll know. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all to pieces. At some point, me and my draft siblings are gonna break down our top 100. Not break down our top 100s. I'm going to find mess and discrepancies.
You should.
In our top 100.
You should absolutely do that.
And we might have a little bit of draft court up in here. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to have a Doing All Right stat collab at some point during the week. So y'all just be sure to hang around, be tapped in, and we love y'all to pieces, okay? Thanks to our friend at World Springs. NFL is a strange lady. Y'all got like FOMO days until that's gone, so y'all be sure to tap into that. Build your own top 100 on crownglobalmedia.com. Everything else is there, crownglobalmedia.com as well. You can share those things with us. He's Crown Global Media on Twitter, and I'm Voch Lombardi. We'll catch y'all tomorrow. Crown.